And one day I said to her, I said, nice people don't have to tell you they're nice. Everyone just knows. And for you to have to say, no one talks about the great work we do. Well, if you were doing such great work, someone would talk about it.
Right.
Somebody would.
Welcome to Beyond the Talking Points with Dr. Musa Abdullah and Tim Black.
He doesn't even see it. So you are still just as invisible and just as small as your dumb ass has always been.
Let me just say that's not.
Well, hold on. Let me keep going
because
I'm not done
because
yet.
I know, but there's a point that I want you to riff on because Andrew may not see it, but his kids are old enough.
I'm
going
to get there. My point is, you're not even hurting him. You're hurting the people around him, and you're dehumanizing him. To Bakari's point, his kids, his wife. I talked to Jay about some of the mean stuff she saw. And what you're not thinking about, and let me just correct the record on this too, since we're on this. What you're not thinking about is a lot of you have made some dumb assumptions about Jay. RJ Gillum is a G. RJ Gillum came to Essence holding Andrew down, completely cool. We went to dinner, B. We went to a concert. She was like, I'm going to deepen into my joy before I have to deal with any of this. And she held it together, and she's still holding it together. So what I would ask you to consider is how you would want somebody to treat your mom. How would you want somebody to treat your friend, your sister, your cousin, your niece, your godchild? And think about Jay and those babies when you're posting this dumbass shit. And first of all, I also want to get rid of this. Like, those two choose each other every single day. So some of the allegations, some of the ideas that you've come up with about Jay, let them go, because y'all don't know what the hell you're talking about. And at some point, hopefully, Jay will be willing to address some of this stuff on her own. But I really want y'all to find a lane to occupy and stay in it. I am so irritated with some of the gossip blogs that haven't said shit about how great this show is. Haven't talked at all about the way in which we constantly inform, debunk misinformation, show up in community spaces, launched an America 250 tour to go into communities, thanks to Bakari, that are second tier markets that are generally ignored. Y'all don't talk about that, but the first time there's something salacious, you act like the white man's plant. And you go and you put that nonsense up. This was an arrest. It was not a conviction. But you go and demonize the black man the same way that you would shit on a major white publication for doing. And the other thing I want to say to y'all is it's a trip that you have all this smoke and energy for Andrew. Some of the stuff made up, some of the posts made up, but I haven't heard y'all say anything about Nolan Wells. I haven't heard y'all make any real updates about Carmelo Anthony. I haven't heard y'all say much about some of these young people who are coming up dead by suicide, and they're found hanging from trees in the South.
Lord have mercy. Somebody come get Angela Rye out the goddamn street.
Brother, that was a master class in Democrat deflection.
Gaslighting like a mug.
How many times are we going to have to hear people blame the public and not the public figure? Is that what we still doing? Don't you realize that doesn't work?
It don't work, fam.
No one's buying it anymore because we know, first of all, we know it's coming. We know you're about to do it. We just like to see how you do it. How you going to spin this one, Angela? Where's Tiffany Cross? Where's she at?
She quit.
She quit.
She quit before this happened, though. She already bounced.
Brother, I already knew when I saw it. I said, I swear to you, I said, I wonder if Miss Rye will address it. And then I definitely wonder how she's going to spin it. And since she couldn't spin it, she had to gaslight us, blame us, not hold. I have yet to hear her say he shouldn't have put himself in the position to be arrested with marijuana and methamphetamine, something that we know he has a hankering for because of his first incident with the two individuals on the boat or in the hotel. I don't know where the heck it was. You know, it takes Brother Tariq to talk about it, that to make it hilarious, even though it's not a hilarious situation, but he found a way to make it hilarious. But I'll tell you this man was attempting to be the first black governor of Florida. Now, I always know that whenever there's a first black anything in 2020 anything, there's a problem. When there's a first black anything in the 21st century, it's a problem. There should have already been a first black everything by now. But if you are chosen, if you are selected, because he wasn't going to be elected, he's going to be selected for a position such as that, they already know what you got a hankering for, boy. And you driving erratically on the road and get found with this paraphernalia, what the hell does that have to do with the bloggers? Why wouldn't you say, as his friend, as his colleague, we just have to wait and see whether or not the legal system will judge him fairly? But we just wish the best for his family, in particular his wife and children.
And be out.
And be done. Next subject. Wait for the news cycle to flesh this on out. Don't bring up Carmelo Anthony. Don't do that. Because this has nothing to do with that. We can walk and chew bubblegum, Miss Rye. And guess what? For the record, we have always covered our youth being mistreated, mishandled, and unalived. We cover that ad nauseum and have no qualms about it. But you act as if we abandoned that to talk about this. No, we're talking about this in conjunction to further the conversation that these people that are placed in front of us are not only not representative of us, who we are, because they don't know our story, they don't live our lives. When they do wrong, they don't hold themselves accountable, and their constituency needs to. I'm going to leave it there. What's your thoughts, Brother Tim?
The brother was pulled over at 10:45 in the evening. It was a routine traffic stop. And what happened was there were drugs that were visible. There was paraphernalia that was visible, which warranted a search. And that's what happened. And they found some drugs, marijuana cigarettes, 3 packages of substance that field tested positive for meth. Mm-hmm. They saw a glass pipe and some other paraphernalia. And charges include possession of dangerous drugs, unlawful possession of a controlled substance, marijuana, a misdemeanor, a use of possession of drug paraphernalia, blah, 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 blah. It's not that big a deal except for the meth.
Right.
And I don't even think they said he was intoxicated. I don't even know if they said that.
They never did. They never
I don't even know if he was, under the influence while he was driving.
They implied it by saying he was driving erratically. They implied it, but they never said it, though. You're absolutely correct on that.
So I don't know if he put other people's lives in danger. Is the point I'm pointing out here. But I'll say this, man. The only reason why this is a story, because of the other shit he did.
That's right.
It's because he's on record being in a hotel, busting it down, and having all these drugs. And then he went on a tour where he was talking, I forget who he was talking to. And he, hey, look, man, your sexuality is just sexuality. But when people ask you questions like, why was you with these 2 naked, one of them a sex worker, he admitted he's bi. He gets down like that or whatever.
And to be very honest with you, when you didn't ask the question, you put it out there, is whether or not I identify as gay. And the answer is I don't identify as gay, but I do identify as bisexual.
So, I mean, if you ask me, I think the black community has been very gracious with Andrew Gillum. Not only did he let a lot of people down, dramatically, like in the highest form that you could be. This brother was, at one time, a rising star in the Democratic Party, and a lot of people were looking up to him, and he was considered to be what Wes Moore now is.
Yeah.
That's what we saw Andrew Gillum. I remember having debates with people when I was supportive of his governor run, his gubernatorial candidacy. I was supportive of it. I wasn't interested in no damn DeSantis.
Right.
I remember when DeSantis was using, we don't want to monkey it up in Florida.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a classic.
So Gillum went from being a guy that was a counter to that horrible dude. So Angela Rye is up here yelling at us when it's Gillum who has let us down. It's Gillum who is a public figure. And look, I'm sorry. He didn't have to come back and be a public figure. He could have won and got a job and minded his business.
Isn't he a lawyer?
I don't know what he is, but he did not need to come back, do a podcast, remain in the public eye. Y'all did not need to team up with him.
Absolutely not.
And he could have just had a quiet life if he didn't want publicity.
He could have. You're absolutely right.
He was out of office. There's no reason why a person who you can't complain about getting media coverage when it's not the type of coverage you want when you are part of media.
Yeah.
If it was Anderson Cooper or Joy Reid or Don Lemon or anybody else who that happened to, it would be news.
That's right.
So I don't know if Angela wants to yell or cry, because that's what she's really good at.
Absolutely.
But she needs to step off her high horse and stop talking down to the rest of us about a condition or a situation that none of us contributed to. None of us had anything to do with what put Andrew Gillum in that traffic stop with all that ish in his damn car.
I would say two things. I think that her positioning is very simple. Yeah, we saw it, so what? Shut up. Just that simple, which is every time someone in her camp or who she aligns herself with does anything that's ridiculous, which is Democrat 101. Yeah, we know we didn't give you anything. So what? Shut up and vote for us anyway. And secondly, I'd like to say, I know there was one way I can almost guarantee that this wouldn't have made the news. And I know it's going to be controversial when I say this. If he didn't have the paraphernalia in the car. I know it sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I know it sounds wild to say that, but had he have not had the substance that tested positive as methamphetamine and the clear pipe on the dashboard, because I remember that, and had he not have been driving erratically, had he just pulled over, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So why don't we, and I have addicts that have been in my family, so I understand the sensitivity of that. Why couldn't you just say, hey, it's obvious that Mr. Gillum has a substance abuse issue.
Right.
Let's pray for this brother. Let's hope that he seeks the help and intervention that he needs so he can get himself clean, get himself right, and thereby being a better person for himself and his family. Let's just hope that, people, and move on to the next. You want to get on our bumper because we brought up what the news already brought up, because we had the nerve and audacity to talk about it. A man who we know they were grooming for a presidential run.
There it is.
See, that's the thing nobody wants to talk about. They were grooming him for a presidential run. Mm-hmm. I saw it. When I saw him, I read his credentials, looked at his background, looked at the family photos. I said, uh-oh, here we go.
Here we go.
That's the next one. I said, this is going to be the answer to the Barack Obama wasn't really black. That was going to be the answer. Andrew Gillum was going to be that answer. Yep.
And he showed they have no answer.
And now they have no answer because, the delineation contingency, Foundation of Black Americans, Sulan, American Descendants of Slavery, these groups of individuals, our lineage is now saying, Westmore, you're not even optional. You're not optional. You're not optional because we saw what you do to the reparations committee.
Yeah, man.
In Maryland. So you're not a thought for us. Nope. Our lineage speaks, our ancestors speak against you. So you're out the water. Andrew Gillum actually was the best thing they had.
Yeah.
If you really get down to the bare bones of it, brother, who else did they have?
You know what's bad for me is that when I covered this story, fam, I was light. I was like, look, obviously this brother has a substance abuse problem.
Yep.
I took the tact that you expressed when you said, you have people in your family that have experienced that, and it's a touchy situation. I'm not going to dogpile this brother. Right. I recognize that that's what's going on. I hope he gets the help he needs.
Right.
And I kept it moving. I addressed it professionally and kept it moving. Right. But it's hearing Angela come with the gaslighting, the finger pointing, the talking down, and really what it is, and this is the problem. This is what's up. What bothers me about it the most is that it's obviously self-serving.
Absolutely.
That's one thing about her that I notice.
Yeah.
Look, she says, you won't cover us and all the great work we do, how great our podcast is. You talking about the podcast you doing, Native Pod? That podcast?
That's you talking about? Yeah, yeah.
That podcast is garbage. Dog, half of the shit y'all, by the time y'all get around to talking about something,
it's history. It ain't news, it's
black
history.
Community.
It ain't history. It's not news, it's history.
It's already history. You've picked and chose what you're going to say that's going to be the least impactful, the least negative towards the Democratic Party, and then you soft shoe it when you do make any criticisms of the Democrats. And we all know, just like all of you, even Joy Reid and Don Lemon now, trying to turn over a new leaf and seem more rebellious towards the political establishment. But when the time comes, what will you do then? Mm-hmm. When the time comes, what side will you be on? Will you be on the side of the people, not the side of Republicans and Democrats? Will you be on the side of the people or the side of the establishment? And I'm pretty certain, I'm 99% sure that you, Angela Rye, Bakari Sellers, Tiffany Cross, Andrew Gillum will be on the side of the establishment.
Every single time.
Her true beef is they weren't getting promoted and supported. In fact, if it weren't for Angela Rye, the Native Pod, calling out Joe Budden podcast and the Joe Budden podcast, throwing them a alley-oop and letting them respond and responding to them and having a little back and forth, I feel like that was a helpful thing they did for y'all. Yep. Because if it wasn't for that, under the guise that you were standing up for Mark Lamont Hill, if it wasn't for that, y'all been dead in the water 2 years ago because ain't nobody been checking for the Native Pod, fam.
Absolutely.
No, and that is horrible considering we got former CNN contributors who can't carry a podcast, that can't get an audience organically. And you had to have Charlamagne come on the podcast to throw your ass a life preserver? Really? So no. Like you have your beef with the Shade Room and whatever black blogs that she's talking about. I'm not sure exactly who else, but that's who I think she's directing this to. Next time, name names.
Yeah.
So
call it out there. What you got to lose? Yeah,
be clear who you're talking about, because I know you ain't talking about new black media. I know you're not talking about us. Because y'all deserve all the smoke we give y'all 7 days a week, twice on Sundays.
And it ain't
y'all
gonna
Roland
stop.
Martin Light.
Oh, my goodness.
Roland Martin Light, that's what they are.
Man, let me say this to you. I dated a girl named Rena. Beautiful girl. And, she used to always say to me, I'm really nice. And one day I said to her, I said, nice people don't have to tell you they're nice. Everyone just knows. And for you to have to say, no one talks about the great work we do. Well, if you were doing such great work, someone would talk about it.
Right.
Somebody would. Think about the reach these three individuals have had. They have been in rooms with the top brass of pretty much all the major conglomerates.
Right.
All the major politicians. They've been in debates. They've had conversations. They've had dinner with these people.
She interviewed Kamala Harris twice, and she can't get a podcast off the ground?
And you can't find anybody to say how much great work you do? Hell, I don't have 3,000 followers, and I got people say the great work I do. You can't get anybody? Are you insane? That means you're not doing anything, Angela. Why don't you cut it out? Let it go. I hate to say this, brother, but maybe, just maybe, this Andrew Gillum thing will be the nail in the coffin for the Native podcast. Because it's not working, baby. It's
Bakari, I don't know what Bakari needs to bounce, man. Bakari, save your credibility, brother. He's like doing real shit in the real world that I know of. Right. So I doubt he wants to stay. It's got stink on it. That podcast got some stink on it. Tiffany left for a reason. I don't know what it was. Probably differences, editorial differences. And I foresee Mr. Sellers, Esquire, taking a leave soon too.
Well, I tell you this, I knew that Tiffany was going to leave because she was hypersensitive to the writing on the wall. She saw the traction that it was not gaining. She was like, I bet you, she was like, we should have been further along than this. She said, I done got put out of one room. I'm not going to go down with a second sinking ship.
Yeah, maybe so.
So let me go ahead and do something different, or let me just get out of the limelight. I think at best, maybe she's going to reappear and maybe she try to reinvent herself. But I think that Miss Rye is going to stick to her guns. She's going to blame the voters, blame the public when we rightfully call out ridiculous behaviors that are perpetrated by people in her party or in her inner circle. Yep. And she's going to further isolate herself. If you are relegated to calling on Charlemagne the God and beefing with Joe Budden to stay afloat, it's only a matter of time, Miss Rye.
Yeah.
And I say this respectfully, cash in your chips while you can. Call it a day. Write you a book. Write a book. Go on a book tour. Speak to the women who still have the belief that you can save them through your great works. I don't know. This just ain't cutting it, my sister. There it is.
A lot of them are upset. This is why they're so upset at Kamala laws. Because a lot of them were picking out drapes here in Farragut West and McPherson Square and DuPont Circle and Potomac. Like they were already planning on moving to the district area, DC area, man. Oh, yeah. And in the suburbs of Maryland. They were ready, man. I'm telling you, that's what it's all about. Yeah. And I know Angela was on that list of Black intellectual elites, Democrat in the in crew that was going to come benefit from that. And when that didn't happen, it crushed them.
Yeah.
Because that was their ticket, man. Because Kamala, she may be a lot of things, but she knew how to spend money with her friends.
Absolutely. And what did she take $1 billion?
Through Al $500,000, through Oprah $1 million, as if she needed it.
That was lunch money. That was she
threw work for Kamala.
She threw Oprah lunch money. Let me say this. I'm gonna say this. That's why your boy Roland attacks us so viciously.
Yeah.
We messed up his job pick 3 times. We messed him up with Hillary.
Yep.
We messed him up with Biden. And we messed him up with Kamala. He's like, y'all keep messing up my money.
Yep.
And we messed up the money for Simone Sanders, Angela Rye, Tiffany Cross.
Yep.
We messed it up for everybody. And so they really got it out for the Black grassroots. Especially people like yourself, Tariq Nasheed, Black Authority, Professor Black Truth. People such as that, they're like, oh, hell no, these guys are growing.
Right.
You talking about Philip Scott, Vicky Dillard, Demetra K. I mean, the list goes on, brother, about people that are saying, No, we want tangible policy. We're voting for policy, not personality and party. And their whole shtick is, we got this democratic machine behind us. And now the machine isn't working. So Angela is like a cornered rat. And I'm going to be honest with you, brother. And I know a lot of people are going to like, man, shut up. I feel bad for Ms. Rye. Because what else does she have? Because she's dug her heels in deep. I think Tiffany Cross did a good thing by jumping ship. She can play the background, let about 20 or 30 news cycles go by, and come back as a reinvented. Your girl, Joyless Reed, her problem is that she didn't wait long enough before she tried to jump back in the fold. She should have waited a little bit longer before she tried to come back as this more boisterous, opinionated woman, because we still remember you were just a 5 weeks away from carrying water from the Dems. So please be quiet, Miss Joy.
They're all lawyers, so once they go hang out a shingle and do some law work.
That's right. Get a law firm.
Yeah, they're all lawyers, all of them.
Yeah, do some pro bono work.
There you go, man. Go, remake yourself by helping some brothers and sisters that are trapped in this damn system. Go do some work like that.
Yeah. What is the exoneration? What's the program that helps get brothers and sisters out when they've been wrongfully convicted? The Innocence Project.
That's it.
Why don't you do some pro bono work for the Innocence Project?
Yeah.
Then we can say she's doing some work or he's doing some work instead of telling me I'm really a good person.
Our great podcast.
I have a great podcast. How come you're not talking about it? No. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you
for podcasts.
And I'm gonna tell you, brother O'Shea Duke Jackson used to say this all the time, and I quote him a lot because in the space, the YouTube space in particular, he always says this: you've got to bring value.
Yeah.
You got to bring value.
Yeah.
I know you working, brother. You pumping it out, man. You putting it out there, but it's quality stuff, right? And you are reading the room. You're studying the cycles. You're looking at what's coming out and what needs to be discussed. That's hard work. I'm putting out one video a week because I like, hey, this is what I want to talk about. This is all I want to talk about. I know people want to hear it. Now, I may only get 200, 300 people want to hear it. That's okay. I'm okay because I'm like, I want it to be heard. But to make this the real deal, holy field, make this is your profession, you got to be working hard and bringing value all the time. Exactly. And Miss Rye, obviously, you're not doing that.
You're right. You're right about that, brother. You have to bring value.
Yeah.
And at some point, you got to get over yourself and you got to say, you know what? Am I delivering what my viewers want?
Yeah.
Who am I talking to, and am I delivering on that? If I'm not, it's going to show because they're not going to watch.
That's right. That's right. I remember when I had 10 subscribers. I held that number 10 for about 2 months.
Okay.
Right? And then I did a video on black men in the trades.
Okay. Yeah.
And then my subscriber count started shooting up. I'm like, well, what the hell? And then O'Shea Duke Jackson reached out to me because he loved the video. Had a lot of people reach out to me just on that one video.
Yep.
And I recognized that was something that people wanted to hear.
Yep.
And I said, okay, now that was a hit for me. I'm not going to have a bunch of hits like that all the time. But I do recognize that sometimes I will, sometimes I won't.
Right.
But I recognize also that when I'm not getting a lot of hits, sometimes in that moment, I'm not bringing the value that people need.
And it's lot of competition.
And it's a lot of competition. Now, I'm in a niche space because I'm talking about education, but I'm also talking from a foundational Black American man's perspective in education. So that's niche in itself because there are not a lot of Black men in education, let alone talking about it on social media. Right. So therein right there is a problem because I'm only have a couple people want to hear that anyway. And I'm fine with that. And I'm cool with that. But Angela, you don't have the MSNBC and the CNNs to push your content. You got to start from the ground up. And I'm going to be honest, you probably had about 30, 40 subscribers just on your name alone. What you should have did was cater to those 30 or 40,000 and stop being upset that you didn't get another 100,000 just because you exist.
Right.
That ain't gonna happen, baby. Brother Gillum is in a bad way. He's down bad right now.
Right.
I wish that brother the best. I wish his children the best. I wish his wife the best. And I hope that brother seeks help. And I hope that he gets the help that he needs. He accepts it, recognizes that he has a weakness that is going to be with him for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And gets that help. And I'm going to land it there. But don't get mad at us because we're reporting on it, because it is news.
Yeah, actually, I haven't seen anybody make it a project. Like, I don't know if O'Shea Duke Jackson even reported on it. I mean, because he'll do 5, him and Flacco.
Whoo! He'll do 100 videos easy.
Flacco, they do about 20 videos on one topic. Now if you got upset about that, I understand.
Right.
After the 15th video, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Nothing else to talk about, but what I've seen has been light.
It's been light.
It's been light, man.
Because I'm going to be honest, as a community, we are forgiving. Yes. And I'm going to say this too.
Right.
One thing that we all have in common in our communities, if we don't have somebody in our family who was afflicted, we know somebody who was afflicted. And that hits home to us.
Yes.
It's like, damn, this brother on that stuff. It could be whatever that stuff is in your mind. He on that stuff, and our heart softens because we know how that affects children. We know how it affects mothers and fathers and wives and husbands. We know. So we like, man, we got to stall him out, let him live. But some people don't care. And you're going to jump on talk about all of us when we've been letting this brother live. Come on, man. And to be honest with you, the commentary I have heard has not even been about the substance. It's been going back to his initial issue, and they're reflecting back on the sexual portion of it.
Right, which is natural due to the new resuscitates the old.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah, man. Hey, look, Doc, man, tell people where to go to get more of your content, fam.
Listen, once again, please come on over to All Things Education Official, educational news from a foundational Black American male educator's perspective. I'm putting out content, as you already heard, once a week. I ain't no Tim Black. Tim Black is the man. He's putting out. Tim Black is putting out short form, long form, TikTok, Instagram. He might be on Red Note over in China. I don't know. But the brothers out there, myself, I'm just putting out content on Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, LinkedIn, and X, and YouTube. All Things Education Official. Please follow me, subscribe, share, and get that information out to people that want to know about educational news.
Well, I will definitely put the link in the description box so people can just click and get to your content, my brother. Thank you once again, brother, for joining me, man. It's dope, man. Great conversation once again, fam.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for keeping it real and being a voice of reason.
Thank you for having me, brother. As always, it was great.
Catch Tim Black live on the most dangerous show in America, Sundays, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Don't miss out on the real. Stay dangerous.